Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our Estrella Virtual Visit series. My name is Allison Campbell, and I am so excited to welcome Jimmy Cross from Tulane University. Our goal for today is to get to know Jimmy and Tulane in a more personal way. So if you have questions or you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to him. So thanks so much, Jimmy, for joining us. And if you don't mind just taking a few minutes of introducing yourself and telling us how long you've worked at your institution.
All right. Thank you, Allison. Appreciate it. So my name is Jimmy Cross. I use he, him pronouns. I'm an assistant director of admission here at Tulane University. I and originally am from Northeast Ohio, born and raised. I've worked at a couple institutions in Northeast Ohio, and I've now been at Tulane for 4 years. I moved here in July of 2021. And so I have been reading upon thousands of applications. I love this process. I think that there's so many great schools out there, and trying to find the great right fit for you is so important in this process. And I get to work with students from the great state of Ohio, great state of Kentucky, and then I also oversee students that are in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles in Louisiana. And so I travel between all those places and talk about Tulane and what we offer and what makes our institution unique and the city of New Orleans. And so it is a really beautiful city if you've never visited. I highly recommend coming to visit us in the South. Maybe not in the summer because it's hot, but maybe in the fall or spring.
Yeah, it would definitely be a welcome change of pace for anybody who's watching this from Northeast Ohio. But Estrella works with students all over the US. We work with students outside of the country as well. So hopefully it'll just be a draw for anybody who's looking to experience New Orleans. So like you said, you've been at small private liberal arts schools, you've been rural, you've been now a little bit more like maybe I don't know technically urban, but in the heart of a city. And you've read, you said thousands and thousands of applications. For Tulane specifically, what type of student are you looking for when you are reading applications?
Oh, I think overall we're looking for well-rounded students. We're looking for students that are passionate, that show passion through multiple different parts of their application. So we review holistically. So we look at everything. We don't have a specific GPA we're looking for or a specific ACT score we're looking for. We're looking at where are your strengths and where do they play? We're looking for students that are going to be challenging themselves in the classroom. We look at what classes you're taking in your high school versus what's offered in your high school and what kind of challenging classes are offered at your school. You don't have to go to a school that has 30 APs and 30 IBs and 30 honors courses. We're looking, even if your school only offers 3 APs and 3 honors classes, are you trying to take maybe 1 or 2 of those AP classes and challenge yourself? Even if you stumble a little bit, we look for students that are just trying to take initiative and trying to challenge themselves in the classroom. We also are looking for students that are engaged in school and out of school. We're looking for how do you invest your time outside of the classroom? What do you like to get involved in? Ideally, we're looking for leaders. We're looking for students that are wanting to get on our campus and get engaged in exactly what they want to do. Because Tulane, there's not a pressure to feel like I need to be involved in this thing in order to feel like I'm fitting in. I think Tulane is more of a open experience where students feel comfortable doing exactly what they want to do. And so we're looking for students that are taking leadership initiatives, maybe in a community service kind of oriented role or a leadership role, maybe in a club or organization or a sport. And then we're also looking at your strength as a writer. We're looking at the Common App essay and how you articulate the story. Can I picture, the play-by-play of what's going on in your story? Where I'm going to use a crawfish boil as an example. Just can I see like the crawfish being boiled in the big container? Can I smell the seasoning? Can I see the people eating at the table with the crawfish and all the fixins and all of that? Like, can I see people happy? Can I understand what the setting looks like in your story? Does it have a good beginning, middle, and end? And so we also look at supplemental essays as well. And we can talk about that later, but we look at all of that. I mean, everything is rated individually, but I think we're looking for students that are excited to get involved in multiple different things on campus and be active and engaged that way, and also with the city at the same time. And so we look at all of that to determine like what makes a student a strong candidate. And there are a lot of really great candidates. It's more if we have more applicants than seats available, it really boils down to. So it can be challenging, and it's kind of vague, but also at the same time, I think that we're looking for leaders.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you hit a lot of things that we try to discuss with our students as well. One of those being like depth versus breadth of activities. So, like you said, being well-rounded, but being passionate. And it's really hard to be passionate
Mhm.
about things when you're involved in 12 different activities and you're just going to like one monthly meeting or you're doing like one
Mhm.
Saturday of service. So, I mean, we really encourage our students, and I feel like you're kind of implying the same thing, is find the two or three things that you're really passionate about and then dedicate your time there.
Yeah.
As far as activities go, and also being maybe academically curious and having some well-roundedness within like what you are interested in study. And if you know what you want to study and you're 16, 17-year old, more power to you, but like not being afraid to, be really interested in STEM, but also maybe pursue music, or not being very sure, but being open to a theater class and an econ class and a foreign language class. So
Mhm.
hopefully, I think that's kind of what I'm gathering from there, is that you're looking for people that are just like going to be well-rounded in all aspects of their life, not just um, academic
Yeah.
or extracurriculars.
Exactly. Like try something new. Try to like work your the other side of your brain. Maybe if you're like you're to your point, like you're interested in STEM, but maybe taking a class like involving something that is more of a social science to kind of get yourself out of the STEM mindset and trying something different, or try like if you've always been interested in, pursuing music and like picking up an instrument, even if maybe after a year you're like, I actually don't like playing the alto saxophone. That's okay. Like you're trying it, you're trying to take initiative in it. Even if you don't do it anymore, that's okay as well. But we're just looking for curiosity and like how you engage in that curiosity in your own life. It looks so different for so many students, but I think that's a really great thing. And students bring so many different things to the table to a college campus, and we're looking for just that curiosity and passion and what that looks like for you. And
Yeah.
I like when students are more involved in less things than like more like 10 to 15 things, and you're not as engaged, to your point,
Yeah.
in those things.
Yeah. You can make more of an impact that way.
Yeah.
So this is something I should have actually probably started with, because I think we just started talking and launched into it. But if you're watching this and you don't know that much about Tulane, can you just give us a real brief overview of where you're located? I mean, I think you've already implied you're in New Orleans, but where you're located, your enrollment numbers, and
Mhm.
like the type of institution. Are you research? Are you pre-professional? Are you liberal arts? And then any like very distinctive points of pride. You're like, Tulane's the only university that does this, or we're top ranked for that. So if you don't mind, let's take one step back and do that real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tulane, we are located in the Uptown Neighborhood District in the city of New Orleans. And so the Uptown Neighborhood District is about 3 miles from downtown. And so we are located on one of the historic streetcar lines. It's one of the longest running modes of transportation in the United States. It's been running since like the 1800s, and the streetcar is $1.25. And you can hop on the streetcar for $1.25 and go downtown and experience all of the amenities that New Orleans offers, from live jazz music to the French Quarter, French Market, eating beignets in the French Quarter, but also seeing the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans play. So you kind of, in terms of like the location of Tulane, you get kind of the best of both, where you're in more of a neighborhood setting of the campus itself. Like we are nestled in a neighborhood where if you walk 5 blocks to the left or to the right of Tulane, you're going to find people that are living there that aren't tied to the school. But there are some students that do live off campus as well, like within really, really close walking distance of campus. But it is nestled in a neighborhood, so you kind of get more of the quiet space in that neighborhood. But at the same time, if you ever want to experience downtown, it's 3 miles down the street. So you kind of get no noise pollution of downtown at the same time. And then we have about 8,200 undergraduate students at Tulane and about 5,000 graduate slash postdoctoral students as well. And so Average class size at Tulane is going to be about 21 students at the undergrad level. And so, relatively speaking, you're going to have smaller classes at a medium sized scale of a university, but also resources of a larger institution at the same time. So, you kind of get those three things kind of nestled together into like a Goldilocks kind of school in a sense where we are also a research university. We are an R1 distinct university by the Carnegie Foundation. Only 2% of colleges and universities have that distinction. And Tulane is one of the smaller universities in that 2% as well. We offer about $175 million in research funding for professors and students to get involved in as early as your first year. And so you
Okay.
can get involved in research your first year, second, third, or fourth year. And there are numerous types of post like graduation scholarships. We are one of the top Fulbright producers for students in the United States. And so we have had students go all over the world to go get their master's degree after their time at Tulane. And we were originally founded in terms of our academic programming. We were originally founded as a medical school. So we have really strong physical science programs here on campus. We really place students highly into medical school. Our acceptance rate is around 75% for students applying to medical school versus the national average of about 48%, 49%.
Okay.
So we do place students at a high rate for medical school, and that's one of our strengths.
That's great. I take notes while you speak because then I give a document to our staff so they can, if they have students that are interested, they can have like a quick reference. So if you hear click clacking, that's just me in the background.
Oh, you're fine.
That was great. Thank you so much. Like you mentioned, you oversee Ohio, Kentucky, and then a few like local areas in Louisiana. What trends are you seeing as an admission department in your office? Like, are you seeing a certain demographic? A lot of applicants from the Northeast. Are you seeing a particular state? Are you seeing a particular major that's really an influx? Like, tell us a little bit about the trends you're seeing.
Yeah, it's been fluctuating a lot in the last like couple years that I've been in this position. And so I've had a couple territories during my time here at Tulane. I've had Northeast and there is always a really strong presence of Northeast students coming. About 30% of our students are coming from like the Northeast in Massachusetts and Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, and all the other Northeastern states.
Okay.
Um, and then we also, in terms of Louisiana, is our top state, and we've had really a lot of progress in the last 5+ years with getting more and more students interested in Louisiana, which is really exciting. I love working with Louisiana families. We offer more scholarship programming for students in state to entice them to stay close to home, whether it's an hour, 2 hour drive, maybe 3+ hours, depending on where you are in Louisiana. It's a bigger state than a lot of people realize. And so we have seen a big uptick in the amount of students coming from Louisiana that are applying. So we're getting students from more parishes, counties is that's what parishes are. Counties are called in Louisiana as parishes. More
Okay.
parishes in the last 2 years than in the last 10, which is really exciting. I would say the states that are we're seeing more of an uptick in applicants in is Ohio is one of them.
Okay.
Tennessee is another state where we're having a big influx of students, and then Mississippi and Alabama are like states where we've had plenty of applicants in the past, but we're seeing more of an increase in applicants in the South in the last 3 years, which is nice.
Okay. So you said like you are working on ways on to incentivize Louisiana students to consider Tulane, because I'm sure with a state flagship institution, you guys are a private institution. It seems like maybe a more reasonable option financially for students just to go to LSU, where you're like, hey, look at us, like we're a great option and we can make it a little bit more affordable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we offer multiple full tuition scholarship programs for students in state. Tulane actually partners with legislators in state to where we fund a full tuition scholarship for students if their legislator near their local town selects them as the legislative scholar for their programming. So they legislators make the criteria for the scholarship, and Tulane will fund it. And so that's one program. We also had the Louisiana Promise, which is a scholar. It's a financial aid program where if a family makes $100,000 or less, we actually offer a financial aid award package that does not include loans in the award offer. So we try to meet families where affordability is in that capacity too. And so that has really cleared a lot of barriers, or I would say some barriers in terms of looking at the sticker price, having that sticker price shock and seeing like, because when you look at it, it is we're an expensive university on paper. And we, for students in any student that demonstrates financial need receives some form of financial aid last year. And
Okay.
so we do offer competitive financial aid programming and to kind of relieve some of the sticker shock price. I always tell families it's free to apply on the Common App for Tulane. It's free to apply for financial aid. It's free to see what your education could cost. The worst thing you can always say is this doesn't work. Or
Yeah.
the better answer is this does work. And this works for me and my family.
Oh yeah, we have that conversation quite a bit at Estrella, just, talking people off the ledge with the sticker shock, like $85,000, no way. Like I mean, is what we do is full time is, we help kind of navigate that process. And there's so many wonderful resources out there to kind of show, is this a school that would offer typically offer merit aid, or are they mostly need-based focused? You can chase prestige and you can chase merit, but you typically can't chase both. So we try to kind of identify what schools those would look like for people and make it more affordable.
Yeah.
Um, so you talked a little bit about, so I mean, I don't know if people know this. I mean, I think this is when I was kind of getting into my IEC role, I didn't realize how competitive Tulane is. Um,
Yes.
so as far as like the application pool, do you feel like it's in credit, and maybe this will kind of answer itself, but do you admit by major or by school, or is it simply like you admit to, if you get admitted to Tulane, you get admitted to Tulane? And the reason I'm asking this is like, is that a variable by major? Like it's really hard to get into nursing, engineering, whatnot, but like if you're a French major, you get a little bit of a better chance going in. So just explain kind of the selectivity, if you may.
Yes. Yeah. Because we are a selective institution. Our acceptance rate's around 15%, which is highly selective. And so how it works here at Tulane is when you're accepted when we accept you and send you an acceptance letter, you're not just accepted into one of our undergraduate schools. We have multiple different undergraduate colleges here. We have the Celia Scott Weatherhead School of Public Health. We have the School of Science and Engineering, the School of Architecture and Built Environment. We also have the School of Liberal Arts, and we have a couple other undergraduate schools. But when you're accepted, you're actually accepted into what we call Newcomb Tulane College, which is our undergraduate college as an entirety. So the best way that I like to say is like think of an open umbrella. That is Newcomb Tulane College. You're accepted into everything that falls as an undergraduate major at Tulane. So you're accepted into everything.
Okay.
And more so, like when a student is applying for admission, the major of interest is more of an indicator rather than a factor in the final decision. It is more so like, oh, you're interested in pursuing engineering, and here's maybe some things that you're involved in high school or outside of high school that revolves around that field, or maybe you write about your essay that revolves around engineering. But more to so, when you're accepted in every major because not a lot of 18-year-olds know what they want to do
No.
for the next 50 years, which is fair, more than fair. But
Yeah.
we try to give flexibility to where if you want to pursue multiple majors across multiple different colleges at Tulane, you can do that and not feel like you're limited. You can maximize your experience, whatever that looks like for you.
Okay. Okay. So no admit to major, so then
Nope.
it's just extremely selective across the board. There's not one major that's more selective than the other because you don't admit by major. So there you go.
No, it's not. Yep.
Okay. Speaking of majors, what is a major that you feel is maybe flying under the radar at Tulane? Like this is a really cool major that we have, and people don't know about it, or they do some
Mm.
really incredible work, and I think more people should hear about it.
I would say. A unique program will be our biomedical engineering program. They do a lot of really wonderful work in the healthcare field, and our students. One part of Tulane that I really love is that all of our students will complete some form of service learning before they graduate. We were one of the first universities to require students to complete service learning over their 4 years of college,
Okay.
and um, one of the really great things about biomedical engineering is that it combines both like in the lab kind of work, hands-on work, while also like creating and like computing and like creating data points like on like a server system. And for biomedical engineering, one of my favorite things about the program that really flies under the radar is the wonderful work they can do for young children, students, young children with disabilities. A couple years ago, some of our engineering students actually created prototype wheelchairs that were for young children in hospitals, and the students directly created those and found and like worked with the hospital to see what kind of needs there were. And our students got to work alongside like engineers in the field doing that kind of work. Um,
Wow.
Another really strong program that flies under the radar, I would say, is our architecture major. It is
Okay.
one of our schools, but I will say, like, our architecture school is really wonderful. We have a center that is at the School of Architecture and Built Environment called Urban Build. It's a part of the architecture program and also the design program as well. But those two programs, in the fall semester, our students get to work alongside each other in a group setting and create a blueprint for a house that will go to a first-time home buyer in the city of New Orleans. And so we've been building a house essentially every year since 2005, since Hurricane Katrina. And our students in the fall semester, the blueprint that is selected, they actually go and work in the spring semester and build the house. And so it's one example I'll give briefly is that 2024, we had a house that was built for somebody that had been unhoused in New Orleans for over 20 years. And what was important to him was he wanted to have a tiny house. He wanted to be more in a confined space. And so it's 460 square feet. It's really small. But another thing that was important is that he wanted to have a porch on the side of the house so he could open and close it and lock it at his own leisure, or he could have it open and have a cup of coffee with a neighbor. And so our students got to directly do that work. It's an article, I think it's on CBS, but those programs I think really fly under the radar of like the important work that you get to do as a student in our communities and help work in partnership with nonprofits and kind of come together as a city and like work together to find solutions.
I mean, like I had told you before we started, like I've never been to New Orleans, but I feel like the sense of community and camaraderie in New Orleans is so strong. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, Hurricane Katrina, there's just like make like a brotherhood, sisterhood, like just like a family aspect. Like people are looking out for their like looking out for each other in New Orleans.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. New Orleans is a city where if you're not comfortable saying good morning to someone as you're walking down the sidewalk, like that, this might not be the city for you. Which is like it is such a beautiful melting pot of culture and community. There's so much representation in this city, and it's so beautiful for so many reasons. There's so much that we celebrate also and come together as a city and work together. Like I know my neighbors. I know my neighbors well. Like I know people who live blocks down the street that I don't know their name, but I say good morning to them.
Yeah.
And like you're gonna find that a lot in the cities. It's a medium sized to big city, but it has a small city feel at the same time where like you're going to see a lot of people in the city that you're going to know in some way, shape, or form, or like friend groups. You're going to see, like, oh, how do you know this person? And connecting the dots that way. Like, it's so fun in that regard. It is such a beautiful, um, open, vibrant culture. There's always something going on. We have 180 festivals per year in the city alone. So there's always something to do. And I think our students really benefit from that too, and finding the balance between like the academic side, but also like immersing yourself in the different cultural events that are happening throughout the city, not just talking about Mardi Gras in the springtime.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that because I'm working with a student now, and we got on the conversation of just like it's like Midwest, I don't know, like Midwest feel. Like he did a summer program on an opposite coast. And he was like, had a lot of schools on the opposite coast that were just talking about like I could see myself here. It's going to be perfect for my career. And he did a summer program there for 6 weeks. And he came back and he's just like, uh, that's just not my people. And I'm like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like nobody spoke to each other. It was very cutthroat. It was very materialistic and like, what do your parents do? What kind of car do you drive? Oh, you go to a public high school, et cetera, et cetera. And he's like, I just missed like having a conversation with someone or like not being afraid to say hello to someone in the morning or like introducing yourself. Like that was not the vibe. And I don't see myself fitting in there, even though it was like a great opportunity, a beautiful school, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, and that's why we visit campuses. And that's why we go
Yes.
and like feel this out because maybe to your like what you said, if you're someone who's really introverted and you just need to keep to yourself and you just want to go to class and go get your work done and go get a job, like that vibrancy of Tulane and the interconnectedness and like all the campus happenings, it might not be your jam. So, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think I think introverts can succeed at Tulane, but I also think Tulane is there's not that pressure of like I need to do this. I kind of said that earlier, but like we have over 300 clubs and organizations also on our campus, and so I think students get involved in exactly what they want without feeling like I need to be in Greek life or I need to be in this pre-professional fraternity sorority or I need to be involved in Crawfest and running the crawfish festival we host in the spring. Like you can get involved in just our chess club or our yoga club, and that's like the only two things you do, and that's totally fine. But some students really like the extrovert experience too on the other side of it, and some students get involved in our marching band and they walk in our Mardi Gras parades, and it's like such a euphoric, wonderful experience for them to experience the culture in that sense too. So it's different for everybody, but yet to your point, I think it's so key to visit a school if you can take advantage of flying programs when colleges offer it. Apply for those grants and get funding to go visit. Or if a school is close by and you can drive, take advantage of that because that is not as much of a luxury as you would think. To be close to a campus to visit it, but definitely try to get your feet on a campus and feel that atmosphere because it's just so different for every school out there, and there's thousands of them.
Yeah, and I don't think I can really say that there's going to be a school in Ohio that's going to be comparable to Tulane, just in like vibe and obviously location. But we really encourage our students, even like freshman, sophomore, that summer between your sophomore and junior year, I mean, you're in Northeast Ohio and as well. There's so many schools within a 2-hour driving distance. You could be at a state public flagship with 40,000 students. You can be in an urban state school. You can be in a rural state school. You can go to a suburban small private. You can go to a highly selective small private. You can go to a
Yeah.
school in the middle of nowhere. Wink, wink.
I know
So
a couple.
yeah, so I'm just saying, like in a 2-hour radius, you could hit 12 schools and you can get the feel that we're talking about. Like, do I like that I have to take a bus to class? Do I like that I have to live in an apartment? Do I like being basically in the middle of nowhere and the Walmart is the only form of entertainment? Can I deal with that? Like, so really taking advantage, like Jimmy said, of the opportunities to get on campuses, even if it's not the campus you plan on attending, like you can kind of get a size and a feel for those types of campuses. But if they are offering fly-in programs, accepted student fly-ins, things like that, definitely take advantage of that. So I think we're almost wrapped up on time. I want to ask one more question, and I know you said you've been there for about 4 years, so hopefully you have maybe experienced this, or maybe you can recall on someone else's experience. But who would you say is the most exciting guest or speaker that you've had on Tulane's campus since you've been there
Ooh.
in recent memory?
Oh, that is good.
And if it's a stumper, I've got another one I can
No,
probably.
it's okay. Let me think about that. Why don't we go to another question? I'm gonna think about my response because I have a couple in mind. I'm like, which one is my favorite?
Okay.
Um,
or the most interesting alumnus that people are like, ooh,
Mm.
that's a really good one. So that could be.
Well, I have to brag about the person. One of my I would say one of our most famous alums that one of them works in our office. Funny enough, I would say he's pretty famous. Owen Knight. He is one of our directors of marketing and communication in the admission office, and he was on Survivor a couple seasons ago, and he made the final four. And so they are when students like any student that watches Survivor, they know who he is, and it's funny because people seek him out, whether they like know Survivor or like people will like identify him in a public setting. They're like, I know you from somewhere, and then they eventually like figure it out, and it's like he was one of the final four. I think it was season 43, but
Okay.
um, last last year, to answer your first question, we had Joe Biden like suddenly came to our campus during move-in, which made it really complicated to
Uh,
maneuver campus during move-in because move-in for any school is just it's so busy and there's so much happening. But Joe Biden was on campus with his wife, and they were presenting a research fund for cancer research for our medical school, and that was last summer. Um,
okay.
Another prominent speaker, I would say that I really love. His name is Clint Smith. He does a lot of really wonderful work, and he's a poet. He's an author. He has a bunch of different books that are revolved around like civil rights and also like civil rights practices and like laws and like advocacy work. He's a born and raised New Orleanian, and he came for Book Fest back in March, and he did like a panel keynote speech for all the students. Our Book Fest is free for students. We have Bill Gates that came to campus 2 years ago for Book Fest as well. Um, I'll probably say those are like the most famous people I can think offhand of like that have been to campus in recent memory.
Well, perfect. I feel like that is a great way to end because those are some pretty high notes. But I really appreciate your time, Jimmy. Thank you so much for sharing about Tulane with us. And again, if you're watching this, if you have interest in learning more, feel free to reach out to Jimmy. Have a great rest of your recruitment season. I know it's just starting, but best of luck to you.
Thank you. Much appreciated. You can email me. It's jcross3 at tulane.edu. Anytime. I'm happy to help.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great rest
Thanks.
of your week.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.